Hello and welcome to the Jamie and Stephen Show. Let's talk movies, music and magic with your hosts, Jamie.
Hi.
I was going to say, yeah, you are there.
I was like, I'm going to say hi.
And me, Stephen. See, we introduce the
I
beginning. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Although saying that, if you've pressed play on a podcast you don't know the title, then
I know
that's down on you.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
This week we're here to talk about the Aristrocats.
Yes.
And I believe you have all of our little facts at the beginning, how much it made and...
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. So released in 1970.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 20th classic.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Walt didn't get far
No.
with this one. He was involved early
Mm-hmm.
in pre-production, but no, I don't think he saw much
No.
of any of this. But yeah, IMDb synopsis.
Mm-hmm.
With the help of a smooth-talking tomcat, a family of Parisian felines set to inherit a fortune from their owner try to make it back home after a jealous butler kidnaps them and leaves them in the country. So I was really struggling to read my writing there.
Yeah. I wondered where you were going to go with
It's
that.
because I do it so fast. Oh, but anyway. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the story. But the with the help of a smooth talking tomcat, it should have been. Well, anyway, yeah, that's pretty much the story. What about yours? Come on.
A posh cat fancies a bit of scrag.
Yeah.
They fall in love and potentially, with the help of a mouse, kill the butler.
But he doesn't die.
He is packaged away and he has to go on a plane.
Okay, he
And-
probably will eventually die
Packages on planes are kept,
in the cargo.
yes, where there is
No air.
no air or anything. He'd have frozen to death.
He is dead.
He's gone.
No wonder they weren't able to make a sequel.
Yeah, he's gone. So yes.
It's an hour and 18 minutes. So the same
Yeah.
as Jungle Book. It cost $4 million to make, but only made 35, which is a tiny
Yes.
amount compared to what Jungle Book made.
Yes. Well,
Even though I preferred this one.
I can find a new Jamie to do this with.
Cast. So,
God, you're jumping ahead. Where am I?
yeah, we've done the synopsis. I've given
Yes.
the money figures.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cast. So, we'll just start off with O'Malley, because we've mentioned him before, Phil Harris.
Yes.
It's so weird because I can't imagine anyone else playing O'Malley.
Smooth.
I know, he was
is.
perfect
Yeah.
for this character. Did you have any?
Yeah, so basically, Walt, before his death, and when I say before his death, I mean this is the last few months, last few weeks.
Okay.
This is very close. Walt contacted Phil Harris and asked him if he wanted to read for Thomas O'Malley. He improvised the line, and it was one of the last things that Walt did was to contract Phil Harris for this film.
Oh my god. See, I just had it in my head that he was in the booth. That it was like, oh, we've got him in the booth. Let's just get him to read for all these characters.
No, separate.
Wow.
One other thing that I got, and it will go through as we go through, there's almost a correlation between the deaths of this cast.
Oh.
Which is a really morbid thing to say, but basically Phil Harris died in August the 11th, 1995. So when we get onto another one,
Okay.
I'll link in.
Right. Duchess is played by Ava Gabor, who is also Miss Bianca
Yes.
from The Rescuers.
And The Rescuers Down Under, which was her last film role.
I know. Apparently they never made a third because she
Because
died.
yeah. Well, they were going to do a TV series.
Oh!
And guess what it became? I'm dancing. Rescue Rangers.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my god.
So it was planned that they were going to do a series, and they made the second film, but the series should have happened.
That would have been a really
And I
good series.
still
and every
think
week
that
would have
should
been
have
a different
happened.
kid.
Yeah. I still think that Disney should do that, to be honest with you. It's sad that it won't have the original cast, but I still think that happened. Ava Gabor died July the 4th, 1995. So
before
a month.
Phil, a month before. Wow.
Yes.
Rookfort
Mm-hmm.
is played by Sterling Holloway.
And I have another fact.
Okay.
Sterling Holloway auditioned to be Garfield in the 1980s.
What?
Yeah. I don't think that was a good fit, if I'm honest.
No.
I can't remember. It's Lorenzo something, and
If anything, Bill Murray playing him was a good fit.
Yeah.
Like when they did the film.
Yeah.
That was a good.
Yes.
No.
Sterling Holloway died the 22nd of November 1992.
Okay.
So not
3
linked
years
to the
before.
others.
Right. Okay.
But yes.
Napoleon.
Yes.
One of the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Is played by Pat Buttram, who we will meet again in
over and over
in
again.
next week's.
Yes.
Yeah, because Robin Hood's next week.
I believe so. Yeah. Yes, it is Robin Hood.
Yeah,
It's.
And Pat Buttram plays Sheriff of Nottingham.
He's also Luke Muskrat in The Rescuers, and Chief. I was going to do that properly, and I can't do it. Went wrong.
Fail.
Chief in Fox and the Hound.
Oh yes, so he does.
Yes. Buttram appeared in Green Acres. He was one of the side characters. Can you guess who one of the lead characters were?
I don't know what Green Acres is.
Oh, okay. It was a. That
was a fail too.
Eva Gabor.
Oh my god!
Yes. So I believe, because I've not seen Green Acres, but I believe that Pat Buttram's character was Eva Gabor's husband's friend.
Right.
In the show.
Wow.
He died the 8th of the 1st, 1994. So again, we got another 1990s.
Oh god. They were clearly, obviously,
of
all
an age.
Of the same. Yeah, of an age.
His final voice work, was for a Goofy movie. But it was released after he died.
Oh no! Yeah, because he plays. It's when they're at the.
I haven't seen Goofy movie for a few years.
I have to
now.
watch it all the time.
So
Because
I actually think that should be a podcast, because as far as I'm concerned, it should.
Yeah, that's just celebrate his anniversary, I think. Yeah. It's when they are at the Possum Place.
I'm struggling to remember a Goofy movie at the minute. I remember.
I would give that a much higher score than Jungle Book.
Yes.
Napoleon's sidekick, Lafayette, is played by George Lindsay, who is also in Robin Hood. He plays one of the vultures.
Yes, Trigger.
Yeah.
With Pat Buttram.
Yeah,
because he's the sheriff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's also Deadeye the Rabbit in The Rescuers. I don't remember that character, but I've got a feeling it's... No, he's in there. But I've got a feeling he's one of the characters that link up with Pat Buttram's character as well.
Oh, okay.
He also... he was one of the longest surviving members of the cast. He died in 2012.
Wow. Okay.
So...
Madame is played by Hermione Badley. I want to say Hermione, but that's not how that's spelled.
I didn't get anything for...
Badley. Well, she's the maid in Mary Poppins.
Oh, okay.
That complains about how she always gets left with the kids when the nanny leaves. So it's her. She plays Madame. So, yeah. And then Uncle Waldo is played by Bill Thompson, and this is his last film He died less than a year after its release.
I don't have anything
Okay,
on him, no.
We'll move on to the songs.
Well, I have one more.
Okay.
And it's, so I said there was a link with deaths and things.
Yeah.
So we've had 2 within a month of each other in the same year. Sterling Holloway passed away 22nd November 1992. And Scatman Crothers, who played Scat Cat.
Oh, yeah.
He died 22nd of November 1986. So again, another 22nd of November.
Wow.
I just noticed as I was going down this that they were very linked, some of the deaths. So originally Louis Armstrong was going to play that, which is weird because he was going to play King Louis.
Yeah, well, I have the fact about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go there in a bit. But basically, Scatman Crothers would also be known as Hong Kong Phooey. He played
Jazz.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He played Jazz in the Transformers, and he was also in The Shining. Apparently, he did 4 films with Jack Nicholson.
Oh.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Shining, and then 2 others that I'd never heard of. So.
Well, yeah, I wrote down, and this was probably one of the most interesting facts that I found about this film, because I just so happened to watch another documentary not long ago.
Okay.
Which was like, oh my God! And it linked to this fact. So, yeah, Scat Cat was designed to be voiced by Louis Armstrong. So he was created and designed with the notion that they were going to get Louis Armstrong. The look, how he played his trumpet, the roly-poly physique, right down to the gap between his teeth was all because it was supposed to be Louis Armstrong. But he was never able to record because of illness.
Yeah, he was ill and dropped out.
Which is why Scatman Crothers then comes in and replaces him. And my link to this fact is I've just recently watched a documentary about the James Bond music.
Okay.
Right? I know everyone's probably thinking, what the hell is James Bond got to do? Yeah. So, James Bond, the film, it's...
Dr. No.
No, it's not that one.
Octopussy.
It's the one where he gets married. The Majesty's Secret Service.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's that one. It's that one. The guy that did the Bond music got Louis Armstrong to sing which is annoying because it's one of the ones where it wasn't the most successful James Bond, but they wanted to show a softer side to the character, and so they went with a non-traditional James Bond song, and it was We Have All the Time in the World. And it was Louis Armstrong's last thing that he ever did before he died. So I didn't manage to find out what came first. But in the documentary they mentioned that he was ill. So I'm wondering if he managed to get a bit better after Aristrocats and managed to do the James Bond and then he died.
So do you know what year that film was?
I'll have to Google it.
Okay.
Let me Google it.
You Google it and I'll think it. So Scatman Crothers was told that he needs to imitate Louis Armstrong. So it wasn't just a case of, okay, we can't do this now, let's get this other person in and we're going to do your version of it. It was, no, we're going to get someone in to play Louis Armstrong playing this cat.
1969.
In which case then, I believe that was after the Aristocats, because of when all the work was happening on the film.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how late they managed to get him to do the song, because I know that when I watched that documentary, there was a couple where the song, like, it was kind of like, oh no, because they have to do the credit sequence, you know, where the song's done at the same time.
Okay.
So there were songs that it was like, no, that needs to be done, and you've got this time to do it in. So the songs aren't done at like too late. They are done quite early. So it probably was around the same time.
Probably was actually then, yeah.
So yeah. So when I read that, I was like, oh my god! But it was just the fact that I had recently watched that documentary as well. It was so weird.
Well, that's one of the good things about these podcasts, because it's not just about Disney.
No,
it's
it
about
links
the wider
to
world and everything.
Yeah.
So.
So yeah. So speaking of music, right? So I had it in my head that the Sherman Brothers had like they were all over this, but they weren't.
No.
They only did how many? Hold on. 1, 2, 3.
I knew they did the scales song, the do.
Yeah.
The opening, the Aristrocats, and they didn't do Everyone Wants to Be a Cat, did they?
I've got that down as Words and Music by Floyd Huddleston and Al Rinker. And Thomas O'Malley, you'll never guess who wrote that song.
Is that the Sherman Brothers?
No.
Go on.
The same guy that wrote Bare Necessities.
Really?
Yeah, which is so weird because they're both sung by Phil Harris, yeah. Terry whatever his name, Gillison, yeah. And Tararabundier was written by Henry J. Sayers. The opening song, The Aristocats, is sung by Maurice Chevalier, who people will know from Gigi, and Robert Sherman. I think it was Robert. No, actually, I've just written Sherman. Talked him out of retirement to do this, and it was his last performance before his death in 1972.
Well, this is the last classic animated film that the Sherman Brothers were part of.
Oh, really?
Yes. They hated the way that
the company
was going, and how it was being run after Walt's death.
Oh.
They hated it, and that's, I think after this they did Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and did they do Pete's Dragon?
No, I don't think so.
But basically that's where it ends. The next time that they do any animated film was in 2000. I believe it was the Tigger movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
I'm sure it was the Tigger movie. If not the Piglet Big movie, but it was one of those. I'm sure it was the Tigger movie, but yeah.
Mm.
So yes, they were not happy.
No. Well, yeah, there's just 6 songs. We've said, the Aristocats, Scales and Arpeggios, Thomas O'Malley, Everybody Wants to Be a Cat. She Never Felt Alone, which is not really sung, it's spoken, I think.
I blanked that song.
It's about Madam.
Oh.
Yeah, I think, yeah. And then Tararabundier. But yeah, so no, that's it. I mean,
one of the opera is that's being played, and she was like, "That was your first role," or all the things like that.
Yeah.
Is Carmen?
Yes.
That is it. Urbana? That is what, because listeners to previous podcasts will have known that I've started listening to classical music, and that was the song that kind of got me listening. So yes, I was like, and it's played, and I've played remixes of it. And song, just instrumental, and it's such a popular song that actually the version that they use in that film is quite poor.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think the idea is it's on a vinyl, it's through a thingy, a gramophone.
But it's still poor.
Yeah.
I don't think enough love was given to that version, if I'm honest.
No.
Because it is so much more.
Right, shall we get into the facts?
Yes.
Although I really struggled to find much.
So I got more about the pre-production.
Yeah.
I got a lot about that. Just before we go anywhere, because I'm going to forget it, it's this film set in 1910.
Yes, I've written that down as well.
What other film have we watched recently that was set in 1910?
Lady and the Tramp.
No. You have to do it with your head wobble.
My head wobble.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, it's Mary Poppins.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Mary Poppins.
Ironically, that must be like the 10th time we've said that.
I can't say it without doing the voice. I'm sorry, I just
you have
can't.
to do the head wobble as
Yeah. Oh yeah, my burp bobble. Yeah.
So, yeah, I can go all the way back to 1961.
Go for it.
So, basically, Walt wanted an animal story for Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Colour TV series, and he sent people out to go and, well, find some.
Mm-hmm.
In 1962, a 2-part episode was developed by Tom McGowan and producer Harry Title, which I've actually spelt as turtle repeatedly on my title.
Yeah, it's Title.
Based on a story by Tom Rowe. Tom Rowe lived in Paris at the time, but he was an American-born writer.
And I just want to point out that when I was looking up the fact, and this is why it's always good to fact check, on IMDb, they have it down that it's based on a real story, and it's not. And that is a rumour, and that it's not true.
When I was trying to fact check this one and doing those, a lot of places had it listed as being released in 1969, which is incorrect.
Right,
it's
okay.
Definitely 1970.
Yeah. So it's this Tom Rowe guy. It's his story.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if it was a book.
I think it was developed with this in mind. I think he was writing it. There was some talks between the two Toms.
Yeah.
And it was developed. I think at this point, because it's part of the Wonderful World of Colour series, not a lot of attention's really paid to that. It's like it was sat there and going, oh, do you know how they developed the idea of episode 13 of series 4 of That's So Raven?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to really know that one. The original story, though, was set in New York. Okay. So it wasn't set in Paris at all.
Okay.
Which is weird, and I've written it down, and there's no correlation whatsoever, but I just found it weird. Obviously, the next story to be set in New York City is...
To do with a cat.
To do with a cat. Oliver and Company.
Yeah. Or could you count the Rescuers? Because
I suppose...
the NATO...
Yeah, but it's...
Is it... No, the...
You only know that because you've had to search things with people replying on threads.
The United Nations building.
I had to find out where Alaska was.
Did you?
Yeah.
My God, Stephen.
I was like, is it Canada? I don't know. But anyway. So yes, they did that. However, Title thought that the London element in 101 Dalmatians actually added something, added an element. So it was adapted to be Paris. Mm-hmm. It's weird, just going off topic for a second, but I don't know how you felt with your time at Disney and how you see things now, but Marie, which is the only one that ever gets any merchandise from this film.
And she's a bitch.
Yeah. I apart from the fact that she's a girl kitten and they're obviously aiming for girls with that merchandise, but she's always paired with 101 Dalmatians. Always with the Dalmatians. And I just... Yeah, I don't get it, because the film's not the same. No,
like if it was like a boy thing, it would be a Dalmatian dog.
Yeah.
If it was a girl thing, it would be Marie.
Yeah,
especially like the baby stuff.
Yeah, and they used to have those little handbags with Marie. The bane of my life, they were.
Oh, yeah.
And then, was it Patch?
Yeah, it was
And the
always
other one-
Patch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, off topic that was.
No, hey, it's a bit of an insight into Disney story era.
So, this is where my timeline goes a bit fuzzy, but stick with me because I believe it's all around the same time.
Okay.
So the original treatment for the 2-part episode went to Burbank, but was rejected, but not by Walt. So Walt never read this. It was just an unknown executive. Went, no, don't like it.
Oh yeah, I did read something like this. And
So Tom McGowan was, and I've written was upset.
He's pissed.
I think he was pissed.
He was
off.
like, "Excuse me, how very dare you!"
I do think that just from different sources have put it more strongly than upset. But he had heard that Walt Disney was staying in a nearby hotel in London called the Connaught, and he basically left a copy of the treatment for Walt Disney at the hotel desk.
Yeah, when I read that, I was wondering, I wonder if it had anything to do with Mary Poppins. That
Yeah, it would have
was
been around
there.
that 1963,
You know.
I believe this is the around that time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it could have had something to do with
yeah,
that.
most likely.
Yeah.
Most likely. Just as a little side fact, but the Connaught Hotel, which I believe is in Mayfair. Either way, it's owned by the same people who own the Savoy.
Okay.
So if people do visit London, you can go and stay there still.
Okay.
But yes, it's owned by the Savoy Group.
Oh.
Walt liked the treatment,
Yeah.
thought it was really good, and said, we're going to make this into a live-action feature film.
Oh.
Yes. Walt did make a few changes.
A few?
A few.
I think he changed a lot.
No, it was still... So it wasn't Walt that changed these. Walt was... Yeah, I like that story, made a few bits.
Okay.
And the idea was temporarily shelved around June 1963.
Okay.
Tom Rowe wrote a letter to the Disney studio to outline his displeasure of the alterations, however was told that Walt's suggestions were being kept.
Yeah. Of course. He's the man in charge.
Yeah. So it's put on hold in June 63, but in August 1963, I mean, what's the point of packing it all away, to be honest with you? Title suggested that it could be an animated feature. And I believe it was Ken... Anderson, yes, I have that written a bit further down. But yes, Ken Anderson looked at the treatment. So, obviously, originally there was meant to be a maid and a butler.
Yes.
And I found out somewhere, though I couldn't prove it, so if anyone's got further information, let me know. The butler was intended to be played by Boris Karloff, who people would know as Frankenstein and in the 1930s.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, and didn't the actress, they hired someone to be the maid and, she did lines,
Yeah, and there was meant to be a song. They were going to sing a love song. And obviously it was cut.
Oh, thank God.
So the project was put on hold, basically, until production had finished on The Jungle Book. And around this time, because it was now going to be an animated feature, Turtle was advised to return to his live-action projects. So at this point, in, I believe, 1963, basically those original 3 were taken off the project.
Yeah.
So it becomes...
Which, to be fair, was the right decision, because they were writing for a live-action film or a live-action episode, not an animated film.
No, yeah.
And it is different.
So... Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of any 3 of those names.
No.
Before I went on to this, so...
No, I've only heard of them in this story.
Yeah.
So they must have been involved with the TV and that. So
Yeah.
that must have obviously been the department they worked on.
Yeah, which is why we probably don't know more,
yeah.
because we didn't really get Disneyland or Walt's.
No. Oh, well,
Wonderful
no, my
World of
mum
Colour.
said that you did get it. Because she
Yeah.
does remember watching it when she was little.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, well, I'll
Yeah.
have to Google that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was put on hold 3 years. It was put on hold until 1966. Interrupt me if you've got any facts, by the way.
No, keep going.
In which case, Ken Anderson was assigned to the project, and he tried to simplify the story. So it was around this time that the maid disappeared.
Yeah.
And one of the original stories, one of the original elements was Madame wanted to find good owners for the kittens.
Oh.
And there was going to be a song, and that was going to be the emotional aspect, because obviously Duchess would be without her kittens.
Yeah.
That was dropped just to simplify the story, and Wolfgang Rudderman joined the project to be producer, because by this time, although preliminary sketches and the project itself had already been approved by Walt. He'd already seen all of this, but died very soon after.
Yeah.
So around the time Phil Harris was contracted and all of that, this is when Walt passed away.
Yeah.
And then I've put on here about the whole Phil Harris part, and actually, yes, that's where the animation basically just followed the smooth path and was put out. Unless you've got anything different.
No, I had about the same. Yeah, and I'd read the same.
The
well.
only thing around this point, so we mentioned in the Jungle Book about Shere Khan and his stripes being really difficult to animate.
Yes.
Thomas O'Malley was meant to have stripes.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a tabby cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that as well.
But it was too hard to animate,
I know.
so never mind.
Yeah, apparently it would have cost too much money as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the two dogs, so Lafayette and Napoleon, they were so popular at Disney, and within their studios, that the scene where Edgar goes back to get his hat was added in so they could use them characters even more.
Oh my god! Which is obviously, I mean, that is one of the scenes, funny enough, that gets criticised the most because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Why would you go back for a hat and umbrella that's just plain black, that's not got his name on it? It's
And
not...
at this time, no DNA or anything.
No.
There was none of that.
No.
Fingerprints. No.
Yeah.
So it's because they just wanted to use those dogs even more. And actually, when I watched this, the dogs were one of my favourites.
Yeah, that whole scene is
It's-
hilarious. I loved it as a kid.
But do you know what? It's so stupid in a way.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant. I
Yeah.
remember I had a little McDonald's toy
Yes!
on the bike, and the dogs next.
Yeah.
Where they connected.
Must have been for the
together.
video release.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, because they also had the Thomas O'Malley and Duchess on a carpet.
Yeah, I know. Random.
Now, obviously, it's meant to be the carpet in the back of that van.
Oh, yeah, the milk van.
But you wound his tail up.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
sent him across.
Oh my god, if anyone still has those toys...
They're upstairs.
Have you still got them?
I still have them. So the two cats are not upstairs. They're back at my mum's. But Edgar and the...
You'll need to get it out and get a photo.
Yes, I will.
Post
Well,
it.
they're there for the kids.
Aww.
I kept a load of figures and stuff that went into the box for the kids.
To be fair, I kept all my Lion King McDonald toys.
I never had any Lion King.
Yeah, I
It's
think
too
I
young.
almost had them all. But I don't know where they are now. Like, Finley and Jacob have had them for years now.
Oh, yeah. So, but yes, I still have those two. And I knew I had I had two of them. That's how I knew I had them. So yeah.
Oh. Well, when you've mentioned Napoleon and Lafayette, I made a note of pointing out that they never meet the cats.
No.
Yeah, they are
They're
literally
just little
there
side characters.
for comic relief. Obviously, you know, to come up with that idea of, right, well, we can't just have this guy dump the cats. There has to be something else.
Yeah.
You know, and although their accents don't make sense.
No one's accent in this makes sense
No.
apart from Eva
Duchess.
Gabor's Duchess. Yeah, everyone else doesn't.
But yeah, and I also wrote down that they are named after French generals.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah. This film has that warning message on Disney Plus.
Yes, and I obviously saw it when I watched it and got until the end of the film and was very, very surprised to know why it has this message. Did you find that out?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously it's to do with the Siamese cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more in favour of the critique of why that cat is even there, in regards, because it's he's supposed to be a jazz cat, but yeah, I've read that the time that it's set, that hippie jazz wouldn't have even been around at that time. That didn't come out until after the war. The second war.
Yeah.
No, the first war, sorry.
Yeah, because it
so
was
in
that...
the 1920s.
Yeah.
And this is like 10 years before. So, but obviously as a kid, those sorts of things you're not really aware of. But now that I'm an adult, I do watch it and think, yeah, that doesn't make sense. I mean, there's a lot of things in this film that just like, what?
Yes.
That clearly they got mixed up with what was going on at the time the film was made and when the actual setting is supposed to be.
I mean, I think... So, looking at this as a whole kind of thing, when you've got things like the genie, who does a lot of references to, well, culture at that time.
Yeah, pop culture, yeah.
Joan Rivers doing the parade.
Yeah.
Obviously, Joan Rivers didn't exist then.
No, or was it? Yeah, I know what you mean.
So,
I think I know where you're going.
Don't mind as such when you're telling a story. I don't think it would have mattered if this was set in the 60s, 1970, or whether it was set in 1910. I don't think there was any...
I think that's the confusion.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be set in the, in 1910, but as soon as you get away from the house, you're stepping into 1968, 1969, definitely.
I mean, I think with this kind of thing, I'm a little bit like, do you know what? I think when it becomes certain films that are not necessarily favourites, no one's going to sit there and say that this is their favourite Disney film.
Some people do.
But you're going to pick The Jungle Book unless you're Jamie around this time, or 101 Dalmatians more, or there are more popular ones, shall we say. And yet you could stand there and say, why is there gospel songs in Hercules?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
No.
So I don't see... If you were making a factual of the time... And I genuinely believe with films that are more fact-based, Bambi, for example, I suppose in a way
Dumbo.
Lady and the Tramp, Dumbo, they are factual of the time. If you're doing that, then I do think keep it like this. But this is just a fun film. Yeah. I don't care if it's got 60s music and it's set in 1910.
No, I mean, it certainly doesn't spoil the film for me.
No. For me, it was... I got to the end of the film and thought, well, the French accents, could you have said that was the thing? And because it's picked up on such a small part. I mean, since we've been doing this, obviously Mary Poppins' classification has gone up. Because of a comment that's made, one sentence that uses words that are not necessarily correct now. It's not a word that I'd heard of ever, and I think it's highlighted that word to me. And I think this just follows that vein a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is difficult. I'm not Oriental. I'm not of colour. I can't speak on other people's behalves.
If it's needed, and the warning is there, and so if when my boys ask, why is this message up there, then
sparks the conversation.
Exactly, and that's the purpose of it.
Yeah, I just feel with this film,
to me, this cat reminds me on Mickey Rooney's character in Breakfast in Tiffany's.
Oh no, you see, I haven't sat through that.
Yeah, that's, he's got the goofy teeth, the cockeye, but he's not Chinese, but he's playing a Chinese, and he puts on the accent.
I never even... it wasn't until I looked to see what it was that I kind of got this cat was meant to be Chinese. I know that seems stupid, but I think it's because the time that this cat's in the film, it's when the good music starts.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's funny. I'm invested in the characters.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually think the understated love between those two adult cats in the space of what must be about 6 hours.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. And the fact that it's like, I guess this is goodbye.
Yeah.
Because of your life, and he's like, well, I can't join your life.
Yeah.
That to me, it's so much more, and it all happens around this time that this cat's in it. So maybe that was just me missing it.
Yeah, I missed it when I watched it when I was younger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm aware of it now. I know it's there, and I know why. The warning's there, and I'm
not saying I don't disagree. I just mean for me. I was focused on other things.
Yeah,
and
luckily it didn't affect us, which is...
Yeah.
And I think this is where, when these people who are in that job, and their job is to find these, the political incorrectness of certain characters, or how they're portrayed, or how who's playing them, or whether it's a blackface, or their voice, or whatever. As a child who has grown up watching movies and still watches movies, I can honestly say that luckily that these things that have been pointed out by those people who have, are saying, no, this is wrong, they've not affected me in the sense of I use those stereotypes, or I see those stereotypes as a true version of those. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have the right words to say, but I just want people to know, or those people to know, that it's good that it's being pointed out, but it has not made me a bigot or racist, and I'm aware of it now. Yeah. Those things that are there.
I think where I see it, and where I see it stand out more and things, is when it's live action.
Yeah.
There are some scenes that I feel uncomfortable watching now.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas with cartoons, it's not real.
Yeah.
And I think it gets into a lot of a much deeper conversation that we should be having with the Aristocats. But I think it's when people don't understand the difference between reality and fake.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I didn't pick up on this, because I understand the difference between reality and fake.
Yeah.
When it's cartoon, it's usually fake. When it's live action, it stops being as fake.
Yeah.
You start believing that those characters are real because it's a real person.
Yeah.
So I think that's the difference, and I think that's why people get a little bit more invested in both sides of the conversation when it's something like this.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I'm not sure how many more that animated classics that we will watch that has that message.
I think it will go on and on. I know when they did the
I think Aladdin's got one.
Aladdin, because of in the remake, the live action, they changed some of the words, which again didn't. But that's because I just didn't know. I think it was Sunday or Friday Salam.
Oh right, yes.
And it was one was not right and the other one.
Okay.
So. Again, it's just not that anyone was doing anything to be malicious.
No.
It's just ignorance.
Yeah, it is. It's just ignorance. And the fact that it was allowed to happen.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think when it came to this, my ignorance showed because I had to search to see why it was on there. So, I think with this one though, this film, we mentioned about obviously French accents and the wrong accents and things.
Yeah.
Weirdly, it's the 20th highest grossing film of all time in France.
Really?
Yes. And that isn't even the random fact.
Okay.
Right? That to me, okay.
Okay.
I mean, okay. In Germany, it's the 11th.
Wow. They must really love their cats.
The 11th highest grossing film of all time in Germany. I mean...
I know. Like, I liked it, but...
Yeah.
I didn't like it that much.
There were more. I could easily...
What was the film that we said earlier that's always played in Sweden? That we said weeks ago. What film did we... It was a Christmas one, wasn't it?
Yes. It's...
And Sweden have it playing every year.
Every year.
I mean...
That's when we did the Christmas special. You're
was
going
it the
back.
Christmas... I know. That was the Christmas special. Was it the Christmas special or was it Lady in the...
No, it was definitely a short. But yeah... It was just weird that when I read that, because normally I don't really
Was it
talk about...
Fun and Fancy Free?
Wasn't that segment, was it, where they're dancing on the ice?
No.
Okay.
Well, anyway, there was a film that we've done, but I mean, it was weeks ago, and it's played in Sweden. Yeah, it was played in Sweden every year.
Yeah. It's their Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I'm struggling to find.
I know, we'd have to go back through our notes, but that would take forever because we've done so many films already. But anyway, yeah, it's such a shame that there is only one French attempt at this, and that is One Voice. Yeah. And like we say, even when they leave the house, you don't even feel like you're in France at all.
No, I thought it looked more like the UK.
Yeah.
Just because, and I know this, again, showing my ignorance, there were things like the countryside.
Yeah, but I have driven through the French countryside, and it is like that. I
think because one of the original concepts for the thing was actually, it was the kittens that were going to go missing. And kittens were going to be kidnapped, and it was about Duchess hiding them across Paris.
Right.
And finding the help of Thomas O'Malley and the Scat Cats to hide these from the maid and the butler. And I think that would have been so much, not better, because it's two different stories, but you would have seen Paris.
Yeah.
You'd maybe had the Eiffel Tower in there.
Yeah.
Or focused on that a little bit more, just to kind of say we're in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
maybe have a bit more of a French feel to the music. I think you get that a lot more with Beauty and the Beast. It was because they use things like the French horn and things like that. So,
the music is really jazzy and not French at all, apart from that opening number.
In saying that, at this time, it is... France was this kind of bohemian capital with jazz.
Yeah, at the
London
time the movie was made, but not the time when it's supposed to be set.
So, sorry, I keep feeling I'm kicking you under the table. I'm not. But yeah.
Well, I have one last fact, and then...
I've got me VHS stuff.
Okay.
After stuff,
and that is that Toulouse and Berlioz are named after two French artists. Oh, the ice cream van.
The ice cream van's here. Yay.
Oh, I tell you what, typical Brits.
Yeah.
As long as it's not raining or windy, the ice cream van's out.
It's out.
Toulouse and Berlioz are named after two French artists. I'll try and pronounce this properly. Hury de Toulouse-Lautrec and composer Hector Berlioz.
Oh, you got that one.
Yeah.
Is Berlioz the one that plays the piano?
Yes.
Okay, that's quite sweet. VHS. Well, there was a re-release in 1980 and 1987. The first VHS release of this was in 1990, and it was in Europe. France, Germany.
Okay.
The second release on VHS was in the UK in 1995.
Which would have been the
which
McDonald's
is when we got McDonald's.
Yeah.
And in the US was 1996.
Wow.
DVD was 2000. I had that DVD. I bought it with Robin Hood. I don't know if you remember when we were doing Ichabod and Mr. Toad. They were my first
Yes, you did
three
say
that I
that.
bought. Yeah, I remember getting them. And the Blu-ray was in 2012, and obviously it's on Disney Plus. It was going to have a sequel. And
it
was cancelled in 2005 with a load of other sequels, including a Chicken Little sequel.
What? That one wasn't even a hit. So on earth did they think that there was... Oh, okay.
Well, at this point, Chicken Little had only just come
out. Yeah. Oh, God.
But it was cancelled because they acquired Pixar.
Right.
Obviously, John Lasseter was the person who cancelled this.
Yes.
It was going to focus on Marie, still as a kitten.
Oh, still a bitch.
It's still a bitch. I'm a bit unsure because if you look at the timeline, I don't know how they would have done it, but basically she was going to fall in love with another cat on a cruise ship.
As a kitten?
I only know one cruise ship around 1910. And that was the Titanic.
Oh.
So it wasn't... Nothing states it was
was
going to
it
be on the
gonna be a river
Titanic.
cruise?
Or no, it was a cruise ship.
Oh, wow, that would
cruise
not
ship.
have worked.
However, before this, there was going to be a TV series in the year 2000. And the TV series was going to feature grown-up kittens. Obviously, it never came to pass. But not only was this series developed, well, potentially developed in the year 2000, but it was also continued, redeveloped and redone all the way up until 2003. So for 3 years, this TV series was in pre-production.
Oh my God.
Not only would they have been grown-up kittens, but they would have been anthropomorphic. So they'd have been teenagers, so most likely having like teenage clothes of the year, the time. Well, we know the early 2000s, and that was not a good time. So I'm guessing Marie would have had like some kind of choker as her collar, and would have had like overly straightened hair with the ponytail with the spiky bits, and
so a bit like the random Huey, Dewey and Louie series when they're teens.
Never seen it.
Oh,
Never
I
seen
can't
it.
remember what it's called. Finley watches it.
Oh, never seen it.
But yeah, and they're like one's got their hair swooped back, and they wear
Basically.
cool clothes. But yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Oh God.
And in January 2022, Walt Disney announced, or the Disney Studios announced, that they were going to remake the Aristocats in live action.
No.
And last year, I didn't write the name of this guy, I think it's White Garage, but someone is been assigned director, so it's in production now. Now, what are your thoughts on that?
No.
I'm interested.
What?
I'm a little bit interested in this.
Did you watch The Lady and the Tramp live
I
action?
did and didn't like it.
Right, so if you didn't see, I didn't mind that, but to me, it didn't need to be done.
No. But
And
do you know
I just
what?
don't like the idea of seeing the live action cats talking.
This film, I mean, and this will get onto what my opinion is as well, I actually think this film could have been amazing. It's very middle of the road.
Yeah, the only way it would be better is a live action, is if the animals don't talk.
Oh no, they have to talk
No.
and sing, and
No.
it should be a bit like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of thing. I think that would be fun. With
Or-
good music, set it in Paris, have the more French elements, more jazz, have it bolshy and in
But
your
then
face.
they can't have it set in 1910 if it's going to be more jazz.
That's fine, do a Cruella.
Yeah.
That was set in the 70s.
80s, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing that they could do, which would be different, because I don't see the point, and this is the beef with these remakes.
Oh, yeah, I mean, with the other ones,
It's
totally...
like, why make it the exact same way, and they still have to, they're still animating because they're using CGI.
Yeah.
So when they say live action, it's like to me, the Lion King live action, that's not a live action.
No, there's
because
like 2 seconds at the beginning that's live action, and the rest of it is...
Don't give me the whole, but the voice actors get in on the green screen. No, I'm sorry. It's all done on a computer and it's CGI'd. It's not live action.
It's no difference to how...
And that is what would happen.
Yeah, I mean, this
Almost
needs
with
to be
this.
Rescue Rangers.
That's what I was going to say!
This is what this needs to be, and I mean, that... So, to anyone out there who hasn't
Get out my head,
gathered...
Stephen. I was just thinking that. If they're gonna go and do it, but do it so different.
Yeah.
It has to be like Rescue Rangers.
And I think that would work.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Could you take it out of Paris?
No. I think it needs to stay in Paris. But
I don't know.
yeah.
I think let's try it in New York.
No.
Oliver and Company?
No, I think keep him with it, but let's see more French.
Oh, yeah, if you're going to do it in France, do it in France.
Yeah, and really look into what France was like in that hippie. If they want to keep the jazz...
Go for the 60s.
Go for the 60s. Remove the time.
Yeah.
And make it that, Madame could still be an
old-fashioned movie star. Not so much a singer.
Yeah, but she could still be an opera singer.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't be Carmen that she'd done. It would be something else.
But if she was one of those... Because we heard in Mary Poppins with the Bird Lady, where Walt brought out this old 30s actress out of retirement.
Yeah.
There's someone you could base it on. There's something you could go round.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely think... I mean...
And the thing is, with how people are with their pets these days... It would not surprise anyone that someone leaves their inheritance to their pets.
Right. So let's not get into this too much. Because, to be honest, if it gets to a point, because obviously looking for the adoption route, things can go wrong. If it doesn't work out for us and we don't adopt and we are going to be older, and yes, we are going to have relatives, mainly on my side because my siblings are younger kind of thing. But I'd have no issue with leaving money to pets to make sure that they're looked after when I'm gone, and then Like, I wouldn't have an issue to say, here's, let's say I'm gone now, and I'm like, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay, you have the money to look after the pets. If they need to go to the vets, comes out of this money. All that. When those pets die, keep the rest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have an issue with that. I don't think that's any different to children. No, there is a difference there. But, I do agree, and it doesn't surprise me. That was never an issue within this story, that she was going to leave it to the cats. If anything, leaving it to the butler kind of was weirder.
And the fact that he thought he was going to get it.
Yeah. It's like, when the cats have lived their natural lives and stuff, it's like, cats live for 15 years.
I know, he's worried that they're going to
outlive him.
Beyond that.
It's like, I'm not being funny. Have an outdoor cat.
Yeah, if they can tweak that reason a bit better.
I'm getting you on board, aren't I?
If it's done like Rescue Rangers. If it's done like they did Lady and the Tramp and The Lion King, then
no point.
No. And especially if they're not going to make the story better.
That was so this will go on to my score now as well.
Okay.
So it's a middle of the road film. It is a middle of the road film. Like Sword in the Stone. There's nothing wrong with it.
No.
There's nothing outstandingly amazing. However, I sat and watched this film. I didn't grow up with it because I only had the DVD when I was in my early teens. I gave it a 3.5. I enjoyed it.
Ooh.
I did enjoy it, and I kind of was like, right, I wanted to put it as a 3, but I enjoyed it more than Sword of the Stone. And I thought, well, it's not a 4.
No.
So I was confused about where I was going to put this one.
Can't believe you've scored higher than me again.
Really? We're not going to have another argument.
I gave it a 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the only reason why it got 3.5 for me, and the reason it got the half, is because I genuinely enjoyed it.
Yeah.
To the point where it's going to get watched again more regularly than what it is. And although I don't like Marie as a character.
Oh, she's terrible.
I would not have an issue. In fact, so much so, on the Disney website, they have the pins of the 2 dogs, Lafayette and
Napoleon.
I want that. I want that.
Yeah, I enjoy this film, and and like, obviously, because it's come after Jungle Book. If it was the choice, I would definitely put this on over Jungle Book.
Yeah.
It has really, like, again with Jungle Book, it's only got 2 really good songs.
I would probably just say the one, Everybody Wants to Be a Cat.
Oh no, Thomas O'Malley's good. And that whole scene when he comes in, and then when he realises, she's actually a mum of 3 children.
Oh God, and it is like, that's okay.
I love that whole...
Bear in mind,
it's not bare necessities, but...
This is cheap animation. This is what they were doing because they needed to make a profit. Yeah. But the fact that cat still has the shit look on its face when she realises this female cat has got 3 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, he was literally like, I'm gonna get some with this posh cat, basically.
He really did.
He really thought, and then he turns around and there's 3 kittens, and he's like, shit. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then the emotion at the end.
Yeah.
With, you're not gonna want this life, are you? And he's like, okay, and it's like, because.
She assumes that he doesn't want...
She assumes one thing, and because she's assumed that, he's assuming that she doesn't want him around. And obviously it brings Sterling Holloway to bring them together.
I know.
And that whole bit at the end where the cats are kidnapped, and it's like, I heard my cats. It's... Yeah. It's just nice.
Yeah. And it's a fun film.
The geese...
Yeah, I love
them. Yeah, they were really good.
It's random.
Yeah. But, and what's the line? Um,
And to see the drunk uncle.
Yeah. And he's reading the menu and he's like, oh, a goose marinated in brandy. And
Yeah.
he goes, marinated?
Yeah.
All that basted.
But as well, it's like, you know, obviously they say that cats don't like water and...
that cat's trying to swim.
Yes!
It's like...
Yeah.
A few years ago, I wrote for a fan series of Doctor Who, obviously.
Uh-huh.
And I wrote 2 characters which were just beings. So you didn't see them because it was audio, so you didn't see them. And it was those 2 geese.
Oh, was it?
They just had a chat with each other and about absolutely nothing to do with the thing, but I had to get the character to a certain point.
Yeah.
And rather than just next scene,
Uh-huh.
I added these 2 in.
Yeah.
And they just had an argument between each other about this character. And it was a complete rip-off of those geese, because that's what they do. They're minding their own business. This cat's drowning.
Yeah.
It's like that cat's learning how to swim. It's stupid.
Yeah. But it's funny.
And it's funny. And it goes back to those dogs as well. And it goes back to...
Uh-huh.
I mean, the other thing that I noticed as well, it's just a small thing. Edgar, creme de la Edgar.
Yeah.
It's custard.
Is it?
That is the ingredient, apart from the sleeping
Oh,
pills.
yeah.
It's custard.
Oh.
He is making custard.
I mean, that was the thing that I would, you know, with Edgar. I kind of like him, but not like...
He's not a good
He's
villain.
He's not a villain, really.
But do you know what? I like him in the same way I like Bowler Hat Guy and Meet the Robinsons.
Yes!
Because...
Like, I kind of feel a bit sorry for him. Like, I'd be gutted to find out I've worked all these years and the cats are going to get the money before me.
But I'm not going to lie.
I mean, we don't go to the extreme that he does. No.
But you only have to feed the cats and litter, which you're doing anyway.
Or, like other people have pointed out when I've read reviews and criticisms, like, all he had to do was just put something in their food after she died and slowly kill them.
Yeah.
And nobody would know.
Like, I'm
but
not...
to go to the extreme of kidnapping them.
Okay, I can go one better on that one, and obviously I own cats, so this is why I know this. Cats find eucalyptus poisonous.
Oh.
Buy yourself a plant. Not only that, you know, at Christmas, you know how Mr. Christmas sat right here.
Yeah.
We can't have poinsettias because they're poisonous to cats.
There you go. Buy a plant.
I think poinsettias, because the clue might be in the name, come from France. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just
right, yeah. But no, I did. You know, I put down as well that I also like how this was drawn.
Yeah.
Because it's like 101 Dalmatians. I really like that opening scene.
It's just.
I really like
good.
it. I love the house, and I like how Madame looks as well.
Yeah,
like,
she's a very good rounded character.
Yeah, and like even though she's old, you can see that she was beautiful.
Yeah, it's almost like she's a very different version of Lady Tremaine. And they've taken away the evil. Yeah. She looks less cartoony, more realistic.
Yeah, and yet she looks softer.
And
I know.
I do like that. One of the things for me, and again, the live action remake, so if anyone's listening, Bob Iger, right.
Okay, Bob.
You're listening, Bob. Now, you know when we met each other in Sainsbury's the other day? You know, you were picking up some rice, and so was I. And I was like, oh, what are you doing? You're doing a chicken curry. And I was like, oh, me too. Well, anyway, if you're listening, one thing I forgot to mention to you, and you'll like this. When making the original part of this film, one of Walt's things that he insisted, and I'll leave you on this, was that the humans should never be able to see the cats talking. So there were no scenes where a human could have been there to witness the cat talk.
Yeah.
So it's not like they are talking in their own language.
No.
They only speak when the human has left the room.
Yeah.
And it's because that was one of the things he loved about 101 Dalmatians. And they kept it in. And do you know what? You need to do that with the live action.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, I mean, I'll mention it to you next time we bump into each other. Thanks for following us on Threads and liking the podcast. I know it's you. And yeah.
Next week it's Robin Hood.
Robin Hood,
which I'm really excited about.
I am. I mentioned last week when because we were talking about nostalgia and things. Obviously, Robin Hood I grew up with. My earliest memories of Disney films and things. I'm cautious that watching it with a podcast eye, that I may see it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that I don't. I've got some really. I mean, Ollie Johnson and Frank Thomas. I think we should. They have some really good stories when they were making this.
Right.
So
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping
Right.
to
Well,
jump
you
in.
all have to tune in next week then, folks.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
on that note.
it's au revoir from me.
Yeah. Au revoir.
Au revoir. Au revoir, kitties.
À bientôt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. So yeah, obviously in the Jungle Book, Jamie forgot to introduce the show. However, we both forgot about our new part of the quiz. The new part of the podcast, which is the quiz.
Oh, which is the
God,
quiz.
Day drinking is not as fun as you think.
Right, okay, so...
that clink was actually
That
Coke
was the
and
drink.
tea.
Yeah.
So yes, apparently
Right.
there's a quiz.
So, new quiz this week, and this one will be a regular quiz, but it will be different each time. Now, it won't be necessarily this quiz from now on. I'll slip it in, and you know. So yeah, so join in, people, please. You know.
Now, have I got to be timed?
Yes.
Can I have
Oh,
longer than
sounds
20 seconds? 'Cause-
This time it will be 30 seconds.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wow.
I didn't think 20 seconds. Well, I didn't think 20 was that.
I think a minute for the last one. Naming 5 films. That gave me, what, 12 seconds per film?
But I'm going to need your phone.
I
Where
don't
is
have it.
Oh, right, okay. Okay, hold on. Because I'm using my phone for the answers. Oh, wait. Hold on. I need to get my stopwatch. Where is it? There it is. Right, I'm bumping up to 30, okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
That's like the weakest link.
Right, now I'm going to write down the answers that you give.
Oh,
so
God,
that
it
I know
sounds like
which
it's
ones.
50.
Okay, so name 5 characters whose name starts with the letter A.
Ariel, Abu, Aladdin, Aurora, Anna.
Well done! That was like in 8 seconds!
Yes. Do you want to know why?
Why?
So, as part of a meditation thing,
Uh-huh.
and if you're finding it difficult to sleep, you need to name as many of something beginning with a different letter.
Oh my god!
And I have done this, and I think actually I've managed to get to about 20 for the letter A.
Well
Yeah.
done. Okay,
The
well,
hard-
it'll be 20 seconds the next time.
For B. I'm going to have to do that. Yes.
No, you're not going to know when I'm going to throw it out, and I'm going to mix it, and I'm not going to do them in order either, so...
That's fine. I can't even think of any more, actually.
Oh, the list is huge!
I mean off the top of my head as we go along.
Like, the list of names, so you could have had Abby...
That's it. Where's Abby from? Abby
Chicken
Mallard.
Little.
Yes. Who was going to be voiced by... Make a guess.
Who was going to be voiced by?
Abby Mallard was going to be voiced by... There's 2 people that mean... We have had a discussion about these people, not so much in these podcasts.
Oh.
One of them's a singer. Oh, part 2 of the quiz.
I don't know.
Let me give you a clue.
Because it's Joan Cusack that plays her.
Let me give you a clue.
Okay.
The bitch was late.
Catherine Tate?
No.
No.
The bitch was late by 57 minutes.
The bitch was late, right. This is, I don't know.
The bitch was late for 57 minutes when me and Luke went to go see her in concert.
Madonna!
Madonna, yes. And you know the other one?
Oh.
So, first clue. You like their podcast. And no, it isn't me.
I like their podcast.
You like their podcast. Okay, here we go. Second clue.
Okay.
Now, people at home with their things, they're not going to know this, but I'm about to put my hands at both sides of my face. Just check.
Oh, was it Deborah Messing?
No.
No, Megan Mullally?
No.
Oh,
Just check.
oh, was it Sean Hayes?
Yes.
So he was going to play Abby.
Yeah, Abby Mallard. But it wasn't going to be Abby Mallard. It was going to be a
be
different name.
Anthony
It
Mallard.
well, you'll find out in there.
No, if we get to
Because
that one.
my essay that I did was the most detailed look that you can find out on the internet
Wow.
of Chicken Little.
Wow. And on that note.
And on that note,
Yeah.
we'll see you next week.
Yes, with Robin Hood.
With Robin Hood and a quiz.
Yeah, and another quiz.
Quiz.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Au revoir.
Au revoir.